Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is RDF and today's video we are going to be looking at a one central defender tactic that I created on Football Manager 2021. Originally this was created for Barcelona. I tested it first with Barcelona, but I did anticipate some comments saying why only Barcelona, why not a weaker team, so then I flew over to Birmingham and then I tried it with Birmingham City. Now before I start with this video, I want to say this morning, probably one of the best mornings I've ever had. It was literally crazy. This morning I went on Twitter. One of my followers on Twitter noticed that Tifo Football released a video all about Roberto De Zerbi's tactic, which obviously I did a recreation as well. And when I saw that video and I watched it, I was so proud that my work resembled their video, and so I just gave it a shot. I tweeted them and I posted my video, and then just under an hour or so I then got a tweet from Alex Stewart, who works for Tifo and created that video. He then commented on my video and then my Twitter literally just blew up. This morning it was just likes and retweets and all that stuff. So first of all, just thank you everyone for your support, and thank you Alex Stewart, I really do appreciate it. I love tactics, so this was very huge for me. It was major. Also, if you are new to this channel and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It would mean a lot. Like this video, comment, whatever you like to do. But now, enough of that talking, let's get into the tactic. It's a one central defender tactic. It is a 3-3-1-1 with two fullbacks. The idea behind it is the backline is the safety. They play with no risk or minimum risk as possible. And then the midfield three is where things start to get interesting, because that is where we try to take control of the game and try and control the game. This is where we inject our creativity, and then we supply the front three, who are going to be the main penetrators. The lone striker up front is the false nine. He will try and create confusion by dropping deep and just causing mayhem for the opposition's defense. By doing this, space can then be exploited in behind by either the inverted winger or the attacking midfielder playing just behind that false nine. But depending on the personnel, the false nine will not look just to stay back. He may drop deep to try and pull a defender out of position, but you will notice as play starts to progress further, depending on the player. I had Scott Hogan. He will then look to try and get into the box also to be a scoring option, and my word, did Hogan score a lot of goals. On the ball is all about possession. We want to stretch the pitch and keep the ball away from the opposition. Losing the ball and having only one centre back means we have to be careful with possession. This requires technical players, as I am also asking them to play at a high tempo to quickly exploit any gaps that we may create. Off the ball, we must squeeze the opponent and never drop off. Inviting any pressure is possibly the worst thing we could do, especially having only one central defender. On the ball, we have creative players creating, but I also added more direct dribbling. With many attacking players, this could be too much to handle. Opposition will start to give away free kicks and also penalties. We score nice goals with this tactic, but we also need the ability to win ugly, because your team will not be playing fancy football every single game and playing it perfectly. Having only one central defender means that we have no option but to force the opponents out wide when we are defending, and during the match when we are out of possession, we will need to be shuttling them out into the wider areas. In goal, we have the sweeper keeper, who will look to come off his line, possibly act as a full centre back, maybe, but he will certainly be helping the lone central defender if the ball gets played in behind him, as he will be sweeping off his line. The back line is built to be very safe and risk free. The lone central defender will be just the standard central defender, but should have decent composure to help maintain that possession. The two fullbacks also have no fancy roles. They will be traditional fullbacks on the support duty, so they will be helping out in midfield. On the ball, I have asked them to run wide with the ball as a defensive tactic to try and get the ball away from the goal. But I also want them to cross less often to minimise the chances of us losing the ball unnecessarily. Now moving on to our midfield triangle is where things start to get interesting in terms of our build up. We have a halfback. He will look to drop deep in possession and collect the ball, but play those very high percentage passes. He will be playing it safe and not playing those risky passes at all. On the right side of him is the defensive midfielder role, who will carry out various different jobs. I've instructed him to take more risks, to add some creative juice in midfield. He may have the tendency to also step in the midfield and support the attacks whilst offering cover if we do lose the ball high up the pitch. In central midfield, we have our deep playmaker. He will be the hub of the team. He is the main focus. He will be the most creative player in the team. He will be responsible of those key passes into the front men. This role could actually be switched to an advanced playmaker, but that is all dependent on your preference. Of course, the advanced playmaker will operate further up the pitch. The front three has two inverted wingers who will look to sit narrow and help with possession play, but also aim to exploit space created by the false nine. Their job is to contribute stretching play and also to overload on the opponent's defensive units. The attacking midfielder between the two wingers will be the only player in the team constantly moving, making runs in behind, and just like the wingers, I have given him the license to roam around. A perfect season for the attacking midfielder for me, in my opinion, would be to contribute with goals, at least hitting double figures and getting a few assists in there also. And finally, we do have the lone striker, whose movement off the ball is going to be key when it comes to unsettling the opposition's defence. Though he is a false nine, dependent on the personnel like I explained a little before, he will still be the main man for the goals. He will drop deep to collect the ball in a bid to disrupt the opponent's defensive shape, but he will still look to drive into the box and be an option in the box once the build-up play has progressed. This is dependent on the personnel, of course. If a striker like Firmino likes to drop deep, then he might have a less tendency to drive further forward. But I had Scott Hogan, who likes to beat the offside trap, and he got just over 30 goals playing this role. So that's enough of me explaining my tactical theory a little, and now we're going to move over to the tactics screen to look at the shape. And as you can see here, it's a 3-3-3-1. We have 3 banks of 3. That is something I just love saying, 3 banks of 3. We have the 2 fullbacks, the central defender, the halfback, the defensive midfielder, the deep line playmaker, 2 inverted wingers, the attacking midfielder on the attack duty. If you notice, he is the only one, and our team fluidity because of that is on very fluid. For the player instructions, for the sweeper keeper, he has no instructions. For the centre back, I have asked him to ease off his tackles. We don't want him to be getting in, stuck in, being aggressive, because then he could be beaten too easily and then the opponent could go on to a 1v1 situation with our goalkeeper. The 2 fullbacks on support, they have cross less often and they also have run wide with the ball. Like I explained, run wide with the ball is a little defensive tactic to try and get the ball away from goal. In defensive midfield, we have the halfback. He is asked to pass it shorter but also close down more. Naturally, he will be closing down less, but halfway through the season I noticed that maybe it was better for me and more effective by adding close down more on my halfback. The defensive midfielder on support, I have asked him to hold his position, so I don't want him roaming around from his position, and I've also asked him to take more risk when he is on the ball to add that creative juice. And for the deep line playmaker, he has dribble less, so I don't want him dribbling at all on the ball. He is just going to get the ball and look for the pass straight away. Once he receives the ball, he's going to get his head up and look for that key pass. For the 2 inverted wingers on the left hand side, I have asked him to cross less often, to roam from his position, also to sit narrow. And on the right hand side, it is similar, but he doesn't have cross less often because maybe it's just smart to have at least one player putting in a decent amount of crosses for our team. The player just behind the striker, the attacking midfielder, the instructions I have given him is take more risk and also roam from his position. And for the false 9, he has no instructions. I'm simply asking him just to be the false 9 you can be. For the team instructions, with the mentality, I have gone with the positive mentality, and the attacking width is out wide, so we are stretching the play. I feel that if we start off in the central play, then our play could start to be a little too predictable. In our approach play, I am asking my team to play out of the defence. When our defenders have the ball, well, our one centre back has the ball, I am simply asking our central midfielders to drop deep and be options to collect the ball. If they drop deep, then essentially we have many bodies. We will have the halfback dropping deep, the defensive midfielder dropping deep. We also have the deep line playmaker dropping deep, and not forgetting the 2 options out wide. With the passing directness, it is on standard, but it is set according to the team's mentality, and the team's mentality is on positive, which then they will be knocking the ball around the park. And the tempo is on higher. We want things to happen in a more urgent fashion. This could help exploit any gaps or space created by our forward players. In the final third, I have asked for the low crosses. This is trying to create pullback situations rather than getting the ball into the air. I want our wider players, if they are going to cross, to pull it back, to drag it back, and that should create a better goal scoring opportunity. And this also works hand in hand with the work ball into the box. It's trying to get less crosses in, less long shots. But with this option, it does mean your players further forward or players around the box will tend to hold the ball up a little bit more, being patient, waiting for that more clear-cut opportunity. And for the dribbling, like I explained earlier, we are going to be running at the opponent's defense, trying to create complete havoc. This way, they can give away free kicks, they can give away fouls, bookings, and all that good stuff. Or bad stuff if you're the opponent. In transition, when the possession has been lost, we are going to counter press. We are trying to squeeze the opponent. When the goalkeeper is in possession, I am asking him to distribute it to our fullbacks. Obviously, I do not want to distribute it to our only centre back, but this is just the tendency. It doesn't mean every time the goalkeeper has the ball, he is going to pass it to the fullbacks. He just has a greater tendency to look for the fullbacks. When the fullbacks do have the ball and we are positioned out wide, the opponent should then start to shift out wide, and it could create space for our players to come and collect the ball. When we are out of possession, I am playing with the offside trap, which is very, very risky, but we do have the sweeper keeper looking to sweep up the play, and we have the much higher line of engagement. We want to squeeze the opponent and we want to be on the ball as soon as possible. If the opponent has much time on the ball, just remember we have one central defender. If the opponent has time on the ball, they can create all types of madness, especially if teams are playing 2 strikers up top. They can just play the more direct ball and we could be lost. And for the defense line, we are going to be squeezing them with the higher defense line. Of course, not going to the extreme with the much higher, we're just going with the higher defense line. And with the defensive width, we want to force the opponents out wide. And for the pressing intensity, we have gone with the more urgent pressing intensity, and we are going to be preventing the short goalkeeper distribution, not allowing the opponent's goalkeeper to play from the back. We do want to force mistakes and we do want to be on the ball as quick as possible. So that is for the tactic. It's actually called RDFs 3-3-3-1 pass and dance. If you want to ask me why, the answer is I simply don't know. I simply don't know. But now we are going to check some results, some statistics and stuff like that. All that good stuff. When it comes to the competitions, the Sky Bet Championship, which actually isn't finished yet, but I'm too eager to show you guys the tactic. If we look at the league table, you'll see that Birmingham are champions, Norwich are second. It was a very, very close season. I think we actually won it on the last day. Yep, we won it on the last day. It was a rocky end to the season. I mean, we went on a very good run, then we went on a bad run, and luckily we recovered. But looking at the season, we played 46 games, winning 34 of those games, drawing 5 and losing 8. 7 of those 8 games came away from home. Only 1 of those losses came at home to Nottingham Forest. So when you are playing away, maybe there's an option to be a little bit more reserved. I don't know. But like I said, dropping deep could actually result in even more worse defensive situations. For the goals scored, we scored the most goals, and when it comes to goals conceded, we didn't actually concede that many goals. I think we had the 3rd or 4th best defense in the league, and our goal difference was the best in the league, of course, with 55 plus goal difference, and our points is on the amazing 106 points. Bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, at the start of the season, Birmingham were predicted to finish in 8th place. When it comes to the stats in the league, you will see that average possession, we got 59%, which is the most in the league. And that is very, very pleasing. That is the main focus, is the possession. When it comes to goals, we managed to score 95 goals, with the highest goals per game, with the 2nd highest expected goals, with Norwich beating us, just shading us by a few points. When it comes to penalties taken, we got 13 penalties. So like I said earlier, running at the defence is such a dangerous tool, especially when we have 4 attacking players. When it comes to crosses completed, you will see we sit in 15th. That is because of our low crossing in the team. I'm asking our team to actually cross less often. When it comes to the pass completion ratio, we finished 4th in the league with 89%, drawing with the team that's 2nd and 3rd, with Norwich with the best passing completion in the league. But to be fair, with the quality of players in that team, it is kind of expected. They've also completed the most passes in the league, but we came in second with 19,480 completed passes. When it comes to shots for, we didn't have the most shots for in the league, which is actually kind of impressive considering we scored the most goals in the league. So then that should translate to us having the best conversion rate in the league, which is something that is so satisfying to see. And when it comes to dribbles made, then well, 193 dribbles made in the season, beating Norwich, beating a team that has decent dribblers in their side. And when it comes to dribbles per game, you can see that we got 4.20 dribbles per game. When it comes to goals conceded, you can see here we had the 4th best defense in the league. And when it comes to clean sheets, we actually came 3rd with 22 clean sheets in the league. That is actually amazing with one centre back. It's amazing. And when it comes to interceptions, winning the ball back as soon as possible, we have 1,752 completed interceptions. We are winning the ball back. Now, when we look at the attacking efficiency, you can see that we were very aggressive, but we were very clinical. Again, very satisfying. Looking at our general performance, you can see comparing with the average, we just bettered the average on every single department. When it comes to the key performers in the team, because someone on Twitter actually asked me who were the key performers, and here is the response: Jake Clark-Salter with a 7.48 average rating. That is very surprising. He's the only central defender. That meant that he had to be on his game for most of the season, and on his game he was absolute rock. And then it was Ivan Sanchez with a 7.18 average rating, getting 14 goals and 23 assists in all competition. Then we have Mikel San Jose with 36 appearances, 9 goals as a defensive midfielder. I think he scored a hat-trick of penalties one game, and he has 2 assists to his name. We also have Pedersen on this list. We have Scott Hogan. Who played 38 games, scoring 32 goals with 5 assists. And then we have our friend Adam Clayton with a 7.8 average rating. Very good for a halfback. So if you are using this tactic, you can build your team maybe around this. I know it sounds crazy building your team around Birmingham, but you can actually build your team around this, and hopefully you get good results. But don't forget, I did try this out with Barcelona, and let me just load that save for you guys quickly. As you can see here, with Barcelona, we also hit over 100 points. So it's a 100-point tactic. You're guaranteed to get 100 points with this tactic. With Barcelona, our record was just incredible, simply incredible. I think I went all the way to 25 games, winning everything, but we played 38 games. We won 32 of those games, drawing 5, losing 1, scoring 98 goals, and we only conceded 19 goals again, which is the best defense in the league. The average possession was crazy, 60%, and that is the possession numbers you will get with the quality of players in the Barcelona squad. But whew, thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you again to Alex Stewart for the exposure that he has given me by just simply 1 retweet. I do appreciate it a lot. It has been RDF. Don't forget, if you are new to this channel or you haven't yet, please subscribe, please like, even drop a comment if you have any suggestions of any tactics you want me to try and attempt to recreate, or if you have any suggestions of a crazy funky formation, let me know. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.